It's my pleasure to welcome our speaker today, Darrin Ford. Darrin is a trustee with SCoA as well as the Media Center Director. Darrin's passion is healing and inspiring others on their spiritual path. Darrin has had healing energy his whole life. He is attuned as a Reiki Master in 2004 and started his spiritual journey with spiritual healing about the same time. Darrin is currently working towards becoming a better medium and spiritual leader. It's a warm Harmony Harbor welcome to Darrin.
I apologize. No matter how good you think you're good with technology, it'll come and bite you right back when you think you got it. Um, which is very interesting because of um, a little bit of what I'm talking about today kind of relates to that, to having those times where life isn't always going to be, everything you want, but in the end, it's everything you need, right? I'm going to start by reading from Cosmic Consciousness. This is a book by Richard Maurice Burke, MD. Um, when Bonnie was going through a lot of books with our past church that we were doing, this was one that just stood out on the page for me when she had all these different books to look at. And I got into this book, and sure enough, Spirit talked to me a lot in here. So there's a tradition, probably very old, to the effect that first man was innocent and happy until he ate from the fruit that was from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. That having eaten, there became aware that he was naked and ashamed. Further, that sin was born into the world, the miserable sense whereof replaced man's former feeling of being innocent. That when not till then man began to labor and to cover his body. Stranger than all, as it seems to us, the story runs that along with this change for immediate flowing upon it, there came into man's mind the remarkable conviction, which was never since left it, but which has kept alive by its own inherent vitality, and by the teachings of the true seers, prophets, and poets, and the accursed thing that was bitten by man's heel could eventually be crushed and subjugated by man himself, by the rising within him a Savior. Man's prognition was a creature, an animal, walking erect with simple consciousness merely. He was, as of today, to animals, incapable of sin or the feeling of sin, and equally incapable of shame, at least in the human sense. He had no feeling of knowledge of good or evil. He as yet knew nothing of what we call work and never was labored. From this state he fell or rose into self-consciousness. His eyes were open. He knew that he was walking naked, that he felt ashamed, acquired a sense of sin, and learned to be a certain thing in order to accomplish certain ends. That is, he learned to be a laborer. For weary eons this condition has lasted. The sense of sin still haunts his pathway, but the sweat of his brow he still eats bread, and he is ashamed. Where is the delivery of the Savior? Who or what? The Savior of man is cosmic consciousness. In Paul's language, that's the Christ consciousness. The cosmic sense, in whatever mind it appears, crushes the serpent's heads, destroys sin, shame, that sense of good and evil, as constructed one with the other, and will annihilate labor, though not human activity. The fact that there came a man along with immediately after his acquisition of self-consciousness, the incoherent premonition of another and a higher consciousness which has yet, and that time, many millennials in the future, is surely most noteworthy through the necessary surprising. We have a biology many facts and premonitions of, and preparation for the individual of status and circumstances of which he has had no experience, and we see the same thing in the material instinct in a very young girl. The universal scheme is woven in one place and is permeable to consciousness or to subconsciousness thought and in every direction. The universe is a vast, grandiose, sometimes terrible, multiform yet uniform evolution. The section which especially concerns us is that which extends from brute to man, from man to demigod, and constitutes the imposing drama of humanity. It's seen the surface of the planet, and its time has been millions of years. So let me break that down, what that means to me. As getting ready for this talk, many times Spirit has said, okay, well, let me show you something, and let's see if you can explain it from how we show that to you. So we talk about um, the human development, how science and some people say humans come from the animals here on Earth, and stemming from a monkey who then learned to walk, and then their spine became upright and then kept walking through technology to where we're at today, which seems like a huge launch, a huge bump. But there's been many of years that have spanned between these two times. And we, as we're here now for this time around the earth in our material bodies, is a very short time when you look at the expanse of the time. And over again, I've been seeing how the earth has needed different things through its evolution. I've talked about how before the dinosaurs walked the earth because the earth needed them, these large beings, to transfer seeds quicker. Then we got into more detail. And then our ancestors can talk to us from the spiritual world. They can tell us the things that they wanted for humanity, for themselves, for their next generations. And that usually looks like we want something more, we want something better. And the earth seems to be doing the same thing for us. The earth is constantly moving and grooving and changing. Seasons come and go, and seasons may not look the same now as they did when we were younger. There's a lot in play to make all of these different things happen in a uniformed way, in a beautiful way in my mind, that creates the next evolution for us into greater consciousness, into expanding to each other. But now there is also very dark times, very heavy times. And, again, I can only speak of the short life that I've been here, but it has changed drastically from what I remember being a child, being in high school, and then going through COVID and where we're at now. I don't want to talk politics, but I can definitely say politics feels heavy no matter what side, no matter if you're middle, it's heavy. And it's unknown what's really going to happen. But again, I hear Spirit tell me over and over again that it's okay. No matter what the outcome may be one way or the other, if we look back to all the different things that have happened, I mean, we've been through some hellacious world wars. And we are here now, and I say we are here now in greater abundance than there ever was before the war. So when we are in these times of darkness, of heaviness, we have to believe and have faith in the future and what that looks like. Now, I don't say we should have blind faith because we are part of this higher consciousness, and that higher consciousness is going to help get us somewhere, help us to be in tune to more knowledge, to a greater good. As I became a medium, really most of my deep training, I had classes with Bonnie and I opened up my intuition when we were in person, and I got to start doing mediumship in person. But then, really, as COVID came in, it it forced me to go more inward and to take that time to sit with who I am, to sit with my guides, and then to open up better conversations with Spirit. Now, Spirit is also showing me at this time, the end of 2024 is time to reconnect with people, time to reconnect with your passions. What are you passionate about? And it's time to reconnect with that. It's not going to be easy. I turned into a whole lot more of an introvert. I was never a big extrovert. I can do it here on these screens because you've all became my friends and it's a little bit easier to do it here. But when I'm out in the real world, especially in a big crowd, I definitely go inward more. And I'd love to feel the energy of the people I'm around. A lot of people who are, um, sensitive. It's hard to be in a large crowd because you're feeling that sensitivity all the time. Um, I'm lucky that I had my guides teach me how to turn that around and allow that energy to be sensed not only in my body, but for my energy to be sensed out into the world around me. So I don't feel as if I am being overwhelmed and I'm being bombarded by all of this energy. I've learned to just be an open channel, not only for spirit to come through, not only for healing energy to come through, but to allow this mass energy to just flow through me, right? I'm not going to stand in the middle of a river and try to hold the river back. I'm either going to turn sideways and allow that river to go past me, or I'm going to get in a tube and I'm going to go tubing down that river and have a good time. Same thing as we go out into the world. We have to find when and how that's going to work for us. But let me tell you, Spirit keeps, Bonnie, I'm going to go ahead and just turn off unmute. Um, we're going to go out into the world. Things are going to start changing again. Now, with that, our small time here, change seems like it can happen fast, but change also seems like it can happen slow. For a long time, we've been hearing about the awakening. And this book talks about how cosmic consciousness has always been there, but it's slowly been seeping into our human consciousness, into our physical consciousness. But it's always there. So this awakening, I want to say, has already happened. More people on YouTube and more people that I listen to on podcasts are really gravitating to, we have to catch up to what's already there, right? Cosmos consciousness, God force, it's been there. We've always been able to touch into it, but it's taken us time individually to be part of that. So as Spirit shows me going out into the world, and I'm going to talk personally about myself and just if you relate to it, um, there's ups and downs. But again, it's this flow of being up and down. It's the same thing with our mind when we try to meditate. The surface is very, the surface of an ocean. It's busy, it's going. But if you watch the fish underneath and you watch the whales that as they go down further and further, this tension just starts to calm down. And the tension is now way up here. It's not where you are sitting at. So Spirit wants us to know if we can get to that calmness, we're going to start seeing the things that are already there, the awakening that has happened, the abundance that this earth has to offer us as humans and to the animals, right? Again, going back to the earth, imagine the earth millions of years ago, back when there was still a lot of molten lava, back when we didn't have an atmosphere and it was being bombarded and it's being hit by asteroids, right? That seems like for us, wow, that's that surface. That's, oh my gosh, that would be dangerous. Well, what if the earth was saying, these are the energies I need to collect to make something millions of years out into the future? It needed to collect that energy. So Spirit is always there to remind us that those times that feel heavy and those times where we feel, how am I going to get past this? That's the calluses on the hands, right? If anyone's been a worker or known someone who's a worker, they get those calluses on their hands. And they those calluses now allow them to dig deeper, to dig harder, to grab a hammer, right? So when we are going through these hard times, just remember, there are going to be some calluses. But at any point, those calluses can be healed. But that doesn't mean the knowledge of what the callus is left is gone. But that means maybe there's something new. Maybe you're going from a hard labor worker and now you're going to have a son or a daughter that you're going to take care of. And they're soft and they're not the same thing as what you want your calluses. So you use a little bit of lotion, you take care of your hands differently, and now your hands become as smooth so that when you're touching that face of the baby, you know your touch is as smooth as their touch back to you. So at any moment, we can change what energies we're pulling in. The earth, we're worried about it. We're worried about, the earth being hit by an asteroid again, right? But the earth may not be pulling that energy in. And so when these are coming, the earth is also saying, nah, I'm okay. You stay away. I don't need you right now. And we can do that same thing for us. We have the power within us, and I'm going to call it the Christ consciousness because that's the word I know, but please choose the word that works for you, right? The God consciousness, the human um, greater consciousness, whatever it is, that we can call on to. And with that, we got to go into our heart center. It's that time that we all re-find our heart center and find love for everybody. And I mean everybody and everything. And that's going to be very hard for a long time. There's still going to be people who aren't awakened, right? Or are they awakened and they are there to give us more information and more of that understanding? But maybe they're awakened with different knowledge than what I have. But there's still going to be some banging going on. Pots and pans may be banging and ringing our ears, but we're going to move on. And it's going to be fine because we live in abundance. We need to let go of the fears that the world is against us, that everyone else is against us. We need to get back into finding the love for each other and the love for the knowledge that everyone has that's different. I see it as that God consciousness just kind of exploded into all of these stars. And all of these stars have everything that we need to be in true consciousness. And we have to open ourselves up for this light. We may sometimes sit in darkness, but we live in a planet of duality of light and dark. But you know what? The sun never goes away. We just end up on the other side of the rock. So that light's always there. The light's always inside of us. It grew up with us, and it hasn't gone out. We know that spirit will continue to talk to us from the other side, and their light doesn't go out. It shines differently. It shines brighter, but they still have to work through their issues. They're still learning on the other side, but they can see that differently now, and they see us differently. So if we just continue to listen, continue to open our consciousness up to the God consciousness, I bet we will continue on. I bet our generations will continue on. And our generations are going to teach us things that we weren't even ready for. We can see that already. And I'm excited for them to start coming forward and showing us what love truly is. I see it in a lot of them. I don't know that they see it in them. So maybe it's up to us to kind of guide them and, open them up. Some of them you may have to crack like a nut, but we can get them open. Where others, it's going to be a lotus flower. Just give them a little bit of water, a little bit of light, and they're going to bloom and open up. And again, we will continue on, and consciousness will grow within us. Many blessings to you all.